Alrighty. Um, Today is October 23rd, 2025, which is a Thursday. And today I'm going to talk about one trade that I did today. Or, yeah, one trade that I executed. Um, and the overall market and how things are going. So I've been in a big drawdown, still in a drawdown. Um, I've been starting to get short recently. Starting to short more stocks and still losing on those. But all right, let's get started. So yesterday, um, there was some news that came out that the Trump administration was supposedly looking into investing in quantum names. Now, off the rip, I didn't believe it. I was like, what? I don't know. But that's just my instinct. And then, the news came out, that's up 15, 20%. It's all these things are gapping up. And I was like, okay, well, it's going to give us another chance to, get back into it and short it. And so I waited for the morning. And I woke up this morning and I saw some news that Reuters came out with, stating um, basically they said U.S. Commerce official told Reuters in an email statement that the department is not currently negotiating with any of the companies. Any of the companies meaning Rigetti, IONQ, QBTS. Um, so these, and I was okay. I was like, okay. Even this gap on the news, right? Mind you, um, 21% for QBTS. Rigetti was 13%. I didn't think these gaps were large enough for that sort of news. I mean, look at CRML. This was rumored that this is, and it was up 42%. This was a rumor that that Trump was going to buy this thing. Mind you, the sector was hype at the time, but this was up 42%. I was expecting these names to be at least over, to the 10-day moving average or maybe near the highs. Like on some news like that, that's huge news. Um, with that being said, opening up in the morning and I'm looking at these stocks and I'm like, these things aren't moving at all. They're just back up to the 20-day, which is barely anything. I didn't think these were extended as they should have on some news like that. I was like, okay, well, this looks like a news failure. Like, this is such good news, right? But it's not acting like it's such good news. It feels like um, it didn't feel like it was actually good news. I don't know how to explain this. But it just didn't feel or didn't seem or the price action wasn't correlating with the news. Um, Something like that. I was expecting this to be, especially IonQ up at least $70 to $80. I was expecting these things to go near the highs or near, at least up over the 10-day. Barely getting to the 20-day on Rigetti. Barely getting to the 20-day on QBTS. IonQ didn't even get to the 10 or 20. These things were super weak. And so noticing this type of price action, I thought to myself, okay, this is. I was looking at all these other names, and I was looking for like the worst one. And I think BTQ is like the worst one, in my opinion. I mean, this thing just barely started moving. Some of these are equally as bad, but I just feel like for me, the way or how much BTQ gapped up, it only gapped up, 13% compared to these other names. Um, and the size of this company too. It's 1.2 billion. Rigetti's 10. QBTS is 8. Arc. I don't even know. This is like, and also I was also looking for a quantum name that hadn't given up already too much downside. Like Arc here already gave up too much downside. So like this is not gonna be anything crazy. QMCO same thing. It never really took off. QUBT I feel like I gave up a lot of downside already. IONQ. I didn't think the gap was high enough for IONQ. LAES, same thing. I didn't think the gap was high enough. Um, and AMPG, I don't even. This one's here, but I don't know. I gotta look at this one. Anyways, it was up to three names. QBTS, which is exactly where I wanted these stocks. Not exactly where I wanted these stocks to go, but they were respecting this 20-day moving average QBTS at least perfectly. And I was like, wow, this is gonna be a perfect short if it holds the 10-day, Boundler rejects it and gets weak. Same thing with Rigetti at the 20-day. Sorry, 20-day for QBTS. And then same thing for BTQ, right at the 20 day. So I was okay, well, and I feel like BTQ didn't give up that much downside. Now, mind you, it is down 49%, but compared to these other two, the BTQ actually kind of built a range and then fell. QBTS was down 5 days, 6 days in a row, and then Rigetti, kind of similar, basically down 5, 6 days in a row. So my thing was okay, BTQ, which is I think is the worst one of all of them in terms of earning actual revenue companies, and they're all horrible already. But I think this is the worst one out of all of them. So I was thinking, if the leaders go down, and then this one will all eventually go down as well. So my thought process was okay. Well, recently, that's kind of recency bias, but all the shorts I've been looking into, gold, quantum, um, minerals and materials, they all went straight red out of the open. Went all pretty much straight down out of the open. And where BTQ kind of opened up at, um, I had two options in my head. I was either going to get short early on some weakness, or wait for it to kind of get to the 10-day or the 20-day moving average right around 960 or 950 and see how it reacted. And it came out fresh out of the gates, red. I have some. I think I have screenshots. Or I can get some screenshots. Yeah, let's see. So here is a screenshot. Sorry, I gotta load this right now. Here we go. I just named it SSS, whatever. So as you can see here, I drew some lines here for some previous support and resistance on these names. On this name especially, I think this was like this line here was the high of the pre-market, I think, and then this one was like some support of a candle. Let me see. I'll take another screenshot for you guys, or for myself, and I will show you what it exactly looked like, so you can get a better picture. Yeah, correct. So this one is not gonna have any lines on it, but nonetheless, it's a picture. So here, you can see I drew like a line here. There was some resistance here, and then kind of rejection here. So I just drew a line there, and then also some support down here. I didn't really see anything else. Maybe here, but I didn't think so. I just think some resistance and support, and then some resistance up here. I think was two good areas to get short in. So let's see. I think the other picture looks better. All right, so this here, right? All right, okay, zoom in here. So came into this morning, I had my support levels, whatever, and it came out weak out of the gate. So I started to smash the. I started to get short. So initially, I got short 1,000 shares here. I got short 1,000 shares, and I saw it collapsing. Not collapsing, but I saw it going down. Let me zoom out a little bit. So as you can see here, it started to get. It was weak right out of the gate. I shorted it. Because obviously I talked about earlier these other names, Quantum. I'm sorry, Quantum. Yeah, Quantum earlier in this run, minerals, metals and minerals or materials, whatever, and gold. They all kind of went straight red out of the open. Now this one I was expecting this to do the same thing, just go right out of the open, and that's what we got. That's what I got. So I initially went short 1,000 shares here. It took about you know it was SSR. SSR was on, so I had to get it was slow to get filled. And then I took off about 200 shares off here, and then I started to get reshort. I reshorted it right towards VWAP. You can see here. I saw this come into VWAP, and it kind of projected again. So I was like, you know what? Let me throw on some more shares. I think I threw on about 2,000 shares here, and I said, look, if this is going to collapse back down again. Now this was based off the news. My idea in this trade was that the news was fake from yesterday night, based off what I read on Reuters and what I saw other people talk about. And so I added some more size because I thought if this is gonna go, this is gonna get short here, and I was gonna risk like kind of pre-market highs and out of this range. I think it was at this highs. I don't know. I got filled so late, but I think it skipped on me. But anyways, so I started to re-short here, and you can see it kind of popped up to the highs and rejected. And I was like, okay, this is a good sign. And then it started getting weak. Um, Started going under VWAP, and I was like, okay, well, we'll probably get the flush that I'm looking for. But this is basically just created a big range. It got really tight here, and then it just broke out of that type of range. It broke out, and then it kind of came back down, view up again, tested again, then took off finally. So that's when I got out. And looking back, this here is a double top. Now, it's hindsight, obviously. This could have bounced off, view up, and took off, and this would not be a double top. This would be a range, but looking at this now, this is a double top that was. I wasn't at my computer at this time, but this is a double top. And then some news came out along here that they actually weren't. That the Trump administration wasn't actually looking at these names at all. Not at all, but like it would. They had said that the extra money that they had after they invested all into the other companies that they wanted, they would probably invest like the crumbs into these quantum names. So when that news came out, you can kind of see it right here. I think it's the time it came out. Once it kind of broke down through view up and broke down again, it probably could add or got another entry here as well. Once it kind of failed, but nonetheless, that was that was the trade that I took today. Another loss. Oh well, it's part of the game. But right idea. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I feel like it's gonna gap down for some reason, but whatever. Doesn't matter what I think. So that was my trade today. You can see it kind of worked. It The news today was very. I would want to use the word shaky, or there wasn't really any real news, I guess, that would give you the confirmation that quantum's really over. I don't know how to explain this. The news came out yesterday evening. I forgot what time, market time, but it came out that Trump administration was looking into the quantum sector. And then this morning, some Reuters and I think later Yahoo and more other names, CNBC, whatever, they came out saying that the Trump administration is not looking into quantum names. And then there was something like, oh, yes, it is. So it was very wishy-washy, I guess. I think that's the correct way to use the word or the words. It wasn't really a solid news headline. And thinking about that, probably shouldn't have traded. It's not a solid news headline. Now there is going to be some greed on my side or FOMO, where I'm like, oh, I gotta get in now because it's not gonna happen. It's okay. You got this new source, whatever bias you're on. I believe, like since I was short, I believe that the Trump administration not looking into this was obviously a short. But if I was long, then maybe looking into those same news articles that I was reading earlier were probably fake. So I think my bias, not looking at this as a neutral, as a neutral eyes, kind of convinced me that this was a short. Which I mean, you can see here, QBTS was down 10% of the day. BTQ was from its high. Well, I guess from its high to its low 11%, but from its open around 7%. But still, it caused me to make this trade, and I think in the future, if there's like opposites news articles or one news article or one news station or article is saying yes, they're looking into it, or no, blah blah blah. I don't know if that's ever happened before, to be honest with you. Not in my studies, I guess, have I seen a sector or news sources say different things without it being like political. I don't to explain in terms of like trading in stocks. I haven't seen that before, so I think today was a very different day. There wasn't really like a solid answer. We didn't get solid answers today in terms of as a retail or just news as a citizen, I guess, in general. I don't know how to explain this, but it just didn't feel like there was confirmation of anything. Um, yeah, so that maybe caused me to lose. I don't know, or it just suck. I just suck at this stuff. But oh well. So that was my trade for today. That was my reasoning on picking BTQ and my thought process going out during the trade. Uh, I did leave pretty soon after this. I think after this here, and I didn't look back till I didn't get back. I was on like a bike ride for like 3 hours, to be honest with you. So, so I didn't get back to like maybe here, and oh well, it happens. But these things are still intact. I mean, they're still at the 10-day. They can maybe create a range here if more news comes out, or they just collapse on Trump saying no, never invest in quantum, or Trump saying yes, we're looking into quantum. I don't know. So we'll see what's gonna happen. And I think that's it for the video. That's it for the review. I don't know if I have anything. I did see here. Let's go back to this. I did see how the short bear traded this. I did a review on it. Not a review, but I copied and pasted his tweets and kind of like reverse engineered this. So he was looking at a much bigger picture. Something that I've realized from this guy actually in general. He looks at a much larger picture. Like I was looking at, a week, right? Right at the 20 day. Oh, sorry. Yeah, right at the 20 day. I mean, it got weak, sold off. He was looking at a much different picture. So if you look at it here, it talks about how well he did, and then I'm gonna start like looking at people's reviews and how they trade, just to document what they're doing. And so the chart. So he talked about this one. This one he talked about a head and shoulders pattern. Now, this is an hourly chart. I didn't even see this head and shoulders pattern at all. So this is the shoulder, this is the head, and then the other shoulder. But what he talks about is that it gapped up into this. He called it neckline, the neckline of the head and shoulders. A lot of support, or technically a lot of resistance here. So first off, he had that view, and then I was like, okay, well, and I think he was already along. Let's go talk about. So these are his charts here. Right, you can see him get short, or I think this was his sell. He was long, then he got short. Um, and this is Rigetti's. Anyways, this is a review, and you can see it's very detailed. So let's click on it and read it. So Quantum had news overnight of strategic stakes being weighted in the space. I was at a dentist AM, blah blah blah. To me, the Trump era news is volatile and unpredictable. If you want, you can just pause this and read this, but he talks about what he did in the trade. So here it's kind of like where the juicy part is. I started looking at it close at 10:15, and I'm assuming market time. To me, once more, the fact that we did not rip showed the first cracks. See, this is what I was thinking as well. Similar idea that it didn't take off and it didn't gap up as much as it should have. We were creeping higher, and the logical area to initiate a short and overall spot to fail would be off of the stop outs. So, I mean, this is a much deeper form of knowledge, I guess this guy is talking about. So he was looking out for stop out hunting. I think that's what he's talking about here. I waited for some type of signal or level, which I found close to 42 once a hidden seller showed up, and we put in a double top, breaking down 41.50. This level was the neckline retest of a bigger head and shoulders pattern and prior support, which made a great confluence area. So, looking back to Rigetti. I think he shows the Rigetti chart later, but here. Oh, the Rigetti chart is down here. So this is the Rigetti chart. So you can see here, like the 42 area here, the neckline is some support here, support, some more support. So there's a big confluence area that he was talking about here. And as it got closer to that area, also whole number 42, I think he said there was better opportunity for him to get short. You see here, he waited for some type of signal or level, which I found close to 42. Once a hidden seller showed up, and we put in a double top, breaking down 41.50. This level was the neckline retest of a bigger head and shoulders pattern, which I just showed you in prior support, which made a greater confluence area. Alrighty. Um, at this point, news pieces were coming out that there being no such intent from the government to acquire any stake. I leaned against it, believing if the news was fake, which I believe was the case, we would revisit lower into lows over the day. Keep in mind that Wall Street Journal had been releasing inaccurate statements all year, as if rushing to have the exclusivity at the price of the absolute truth. So that's what I was kind of dealing with today. I believe with these not just Wall Street Journal and trying to disagree with him, but there was inaccurate statements, I guess, throughout the day. Even yesterday, obviously, yesterday was an inaccurate statement, and then this morning, accurate, but no one believed it. I don't know, whatever. And then I guess I didn't see this, but Rigetti went on to CNBC and talked around the question, making sure to be vague. Listen, when you have news that good, you don't dance around it. That's true. You blast it in the clear. Great capital letters. As soon as they started the talking instead of stating, I added. As soon as they started the talking instead of stating, I added. Okay. More news pieces came out. I believe Yahoo won at 11:40. I was proactive and covered half into the big flush. The headlines had been so vague and contradicting. Agree. I wanted to make sure that to get some size off vol and algos. Alrighty. So speaking big words, don't understand. But you can see in this trade, in this chart here, you can start to see him. I guess he saw a pretty big seller up here and started getting short. I think he wanted to cover into stop outs or stop losses. So this is this chart here. There's some more on this chart here. Yeah. So this is a longer term view of his charts. So this is him trading Rigetti and then QBTS. See how QBTS he was already long. So he gave it a little chance. Why the sales are pretty bad. I wouldn't say bad, but selling on the weakness here. I decided to get ahead of things and use the liquidity to get out. Okay, here. Came into the day long and simply wanted to let it briefly test and have a chance at a run. Instead, we failed, and I decided to get ahead of things and use the liquidity to get out. Okay. From his longs. Okay. It took from the 27s to mid 31s off of my short cover and flip. I took it from the 27s, 21s off of my short cover and flip. Okay. The plan was to scale into 20 slowly to get to the mid 22, 23 average and allow for a bounce back into 30. Not the prettiest exit, but I wanted out. Though. We could confirm up again eventually if I wanted to get back in. Oh, but I wanted out. Thought we could firm up again eventually if I want to get back in. I think. Again, the main thing was that it was weird to see the weakness given the news. Great, yeah, I agree. Before I continue, let's recap the news for reference. Okay, here's the news. What came out in the morning, or I'm sorry, yesterday. See here. See, I read the same thing here. This is what I read. I read the same article. So kind of contradicting. Sluggish. The short was similar to Rigetti structure and sluggish behavior with highs failing 3 times in a row. Rigetti? Let me see. Or QBTS. Sorry. Okay. All right. I don't really see it, but okay. What is he talking about? Where? Sorry, I looked it up on another screen. Is he talking about here? Like 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. So this is him getting out of his long, and this is when he started to get short, and then got out on the flush, re-short on the bounce, and then got out. Sick. All right. The short was similar to Rigetti's structure and sluggish behavior with highs failing 3 times in a row. Not what winners are made out of. Not what winners are made of. shorted and pyramided into the breakdowns and structure retest. I covered into the stop outs, into 31s, added back into the bounds, and covered back into the whole number, which aligned with support from pre-market. No need to overstay. Okay. Big gap ups on the backside of a trade is often a transition day, meaning big range with stop outs as the goal for liquidity. It's some big boy stuff. I don't even know what this means. Not a real directional move. Okay. This is especially true for real good news and shift towards a sell-off day. A lot of studying he's done, huh? If the news is recycled and fake on purpose, which is usually done if underwriters and the like still have more to sell. Alrighty. So, what he's talking, I guess he's talking about since it was a big gap up move. Oh, no transit. So, on the backside, gap ups. Trade outs, just meaning big range with stop outs as the goal for liquidity. Okay. Interesting. Overall, very pleased. I was open-minded about the long and took a nice win overnight. Congrats. Short was opportunistic, led by instinct, news, and structure against the grain. This is the type of trading I'm supposed to do. I'm doing okay. Okay, so for QBTS, you can see the structure here. Hey, even QBTS, oh, they both had it, head and shoulders. This is Rigetti. Right, you see the price 41.42. This one was 31.32. Interesting. So the gap up into this area, it being support, and it being a whole number, like was near the whole number, and rejecting off that whole number pretty much, or it failing. Alrighty. Alright, so that's it for the video. He's the only person I found that gave an in-depth review like this. I'm going to start studying more of his reviews. I did it on gold and his other quantums and beyond. But I got to understand what he's saying here. I got to do some more research. So that's it for the video. Still got a long way to go. This is kind of embarrassing. Kind of reading this and then going back to what I did. Kind of sucks. Just more patient, I guess. Yeah. Alrighty. See ya.